Oh, yes. So, yes, you were told it was evidence. Your Honour, we need to give the witness a caution because he's just openly admitted that he's tampered with evidence. That's 10,000. Sorry, that's 10 years in jail. And worse because he's a police officer. So he needs to be cautioned. It's very well. Now we've put the cop. He's in the microscope. Because from that moment on, nothing he does or says is lawful. Anything that he claims after that is unlawful. Judge knows that. I know that. Cop doesn't know that. So I can now basically put the judge in a position, if you don't act appropriately, you're complicit in everything he does from this moment on, and says you are complicit. So we understand how to never refuse anything from the police. Just simply ask for, on what grounds are you doing that? Well, I want you to move on. From where? And why? Well, we've got a law. I said, well, from memory, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but that move on law only applies to persons. Are you making a ruling that I'm a person? Because only judges can do that. All you can do is supply the evidence. You cannot act in a judiciary capacity. But if you want me to move on, if you give me a good enough reason, and I want to, I shall. But I'm out walking my dog.
How the travelling community navigates in all of this?
Because they know. And they know how to hold up to the cops a mirror to say, I can't stop you doing whatever you do, but I can make you accountable. And it might take time, but I will get my day in court. And it's not going to be a court that you choose. It's going to be a court that I choose. It's going to be a court of living men. I'm going to have a jury because I'm entitled to a jury. And my gut instinct is they don't like cops who throw their weight around. How do I know that? I don't know. We'd had a case recently where the jury ordered $4.2 billion in remedy to a man who made a claim against the court systems and the cops. Most people don't like the police. Most people don't like courts. And if they get a chance to get even, they're going to get even. Recording as evidence. You know when they say to you, you're not allowed to record this? It's because it's a private club. And you quite simply say, no, if I believe that a crime might be committed, I am totally entitled to record it. Whether that is admissible in court or not is another question. But you cannot stop from me from recording what I believe to be a criminal offence. So if you try to take my camera off me, if you do all of that, that will confirm for me that you intend to commit a crime or that you are complicit in the crime that's been committed. And it will be theft, and just lay it on them. And then if they take it, warned you, paperwork, 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 paperwork. We say this all the time, get your paper trail, get your paper trail. Because ultimately you have to prove it, and you getting up in court is not going to be enough. But if you can produce the paperwork that you've sent to them, the paperwork does the talking for you. Because if I'm on a jury and you tell me something, I say, why should I believe you? Oh, because I've got 4 documents that all are date stamped, that all confirm that they've been sent these documents. Okay, now I know you've sent them because you've given me the proof for that. And we should all do that in juries. We should never just believe what somebody tells us. It should always be backed up with concrete evidence. So even when you're sitting in the car and they're interviewing you, you should be thinking about what evidence do I need to get here? Got my camera up and running. Where's the document? He's been given it. He's given notice because I'm setting him up because I know he's not going to keep that document. I'm setting him up for when he gets in the witness box, I can say, you've been tampering with evidence. You'll all get to think the way I think. Do you know why? Because it's fun. When you've been screwed for so long and you get to the point where you go, you know what? Yeah, I want some payback. Then it becomes fun, especially when you start issuing invoices for 1 million, 2 million, 3 million pounds. Oh yeah, we've had one copper been bankrupt through this process. We've got a whole string of them in the lean process, and we're all just sitting tight until what I'm going to explain to you happens very soon. So, do we need any more info on this stuff? If you do, there's heaps on the People's Court stuff that you can tap into. When you go there, you're going to be like, wow, there is so much. There's 5 years of videos of us talking to people, of helping them, going through stuff. Doc? Yeah.
Why is that a valid argument to not pay your mortgage or just pay a little bit? Because I'll tell you something. It's a chap I know who says there's some clause in the Property Act where if you can't pay your mortgage, you can pay like 30 quid, because apparently that's what they decided in Parliament in England. It would be 3,000 years before the second coming, and that's when. So it's called Section 87 of the Property Act.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I know it doesn't work because my friend, he did it for a year, was sending notices, and they went straight into court order just to make him homeless.
Yeah. Remember, they are liars. They are cheats. So they'll change the so-called rules to suit themselves. But when it comes to being impecunious, that's a maxim of law. It's an underlying principle of law that if you are impecunious, you cannot be expected to give up your livelihood for the sake of someone who does not necessarily need it. So if I have to give up my money for food and starve, that's a breach of my rights to be happy. But all their system says is you need to make an offer of payment. Okay, so long as you make an offer of payment, they have to accept it. And the key issues in there are the words, until my financial circumstances change, could be for the better or for the worse, or the matter is resolved. Doesn't mean it's whose favour. We leave it open-ended to basically say, I live my life impecunious.
So because what's happening now is that bills have gone up, council tax has gone up, everything's increased. So if we just made a good faith offer payment, that would protect us.
No, you don't make a good offer payment because that means you're consenting to it.
So you just said I'm impecunious. So you mean I use that term impecunious, okay, and I'll pay 30 quid.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay them that much, but they don't deserve it. Or you could say, I'm happy to consider that when you can prove to me that you're not trading while insolvent. They're all trading, they're all insolvent. Every single one of them. The courts, the police, the banks, all of them. No. That's what I'm going to tell you about. Same. Yeah. Yeah. They don't have the money in the bank. If you go into a bank and you say, I want to remove £20,000, they say, we haven't got it. Sorry, I've got $20,000 in your bank. I've put it in your bank. Your responsibility was to keep it. I didn't say you could lend it out or whatever. If you don't have $20,000 in your account, that's my money, then you're trading while insolvent because you're supposed to have my money there. Oh, well, we can get it for you tomorrow. No, I want it now.
I forget where I've read this, Alex, but just to let people know, they're actually legally or lawfully only allowed to enforce a payment term of 5 terms. And that would fall in line, because I went on the Western Power Distribution website, and found that the average 3-bed household contribution to maintenance and upkeep costs of their infrastructure was about £28 a year. So if you've got 2 meter boxes on your house, call it 30 quid each, that's 60 quid a year, £5 a month. So all the dots join up to me. So
Yeah. I mean, you've got great people like Leslie who do the digging round, who get the bits and pieces and put it together, and then they share the information with everybody else. And you'll find that there's a consistency in the way that they operate. If they can fool you, they're going to keep doing it. If they can't fool you anymore, they're going to try and find a different way to intimidate you, to fool you, so that they can still get money out of you. But the minute you start questioning them and saying, okay, you're making a claim, who are you making the claim against? The living woman or the fiction? I can't act until I know. So that's why I haven't paid my electricity and gas for nearly 5 years, because they won't come back and answer the questions. They've even got a fraud department. And I said, well, get me in touch with the fraud department. Letter came back from the fraud department. We don't want to talk to him. How can you resolve a matter if their lawyers won't talk to you? Because they have to admit the fraud. Gary?
I was just going to say on the consistency thing, I was teaching my son and we did a video, and I went through every bill, so the gas, electric, mobile phone, council tax, everything. They all had capital letters, every part where there are numbers. Yeah, just have a look, lay them out and see. There's boxes around the numbers everywhere, every time, without fail.
Also too, if they don't put the number in writing, the number means nothing. Just them putting the number down. Oh, but we've got a pound symbol in front of it. It's got to be in writing.
Is that why you just have to write it out on checks? That's right. We don't use it.
The numbers were in a box.
Yeah, there's some certain amount of, you spell it out.
So the line that you sign on, when you look at it under a microscope, it's actually got the authorised signature.
They're cheeky buggers. But we can do the same to them. I use like 5 print stuff as a line on certain things when I want to include it into a document, and they don't challenge it. Always says, read the fine print. If you get a notice from the council or from someone, if it has their logo on it, that means it's been signed. If they're asking for money, let's say they want £1,000, they've sent you a blank check. They've sent you what's called a negotiable instrument. So their negotiation is, if you pay us £1,000, the matter is settled. So you then write onto it, thank you very much for your negotiable instrument. My offer to settle this matter is that you pay me £10,000 and the matter shall be considered settled under equity, not negotiable. Send it off to them. They've sent you a blank check. Thank you very much. You pay me 10 grand, I'll consider it settled. This is where, I'm not the one who's done all of the evidence seeking on this. But when you can compile all the pieces and you think, oh my God, you've got more than one option here. How much fun do you want to have? Just try to get someone's name, full name. And sorry, who am I talking to? Oh, Mary. Yes. What's your surname, Mary? Gotcha. They usually won't give you the surname now. But that's okay. You can still do it to the living woman known as Mary, such and such a department. You can still go for them. What's your job title? Because you can always subpoena their records. Who was it? It was Mary that was working for the company at that time. The other great thing is subpoena stuff if they won't give it to you. What do you make requests for information? What do you call them here? Yeah. You send it from the office of the executor as a subpoena demanding the information as a part of an investigation into criminal fraudulent activities, and that if they withhold it, they will be held accountable for withholding evidence. Subpoena them. It's great. They don't know what to do with it.
Only they couldn't give me the evidence unless I sent proof of passport, driving licence with photographs, etc.
Really?
Yeah.
On what grounds?
Who's there? Which company? Thanks.
You do it from the office of the executor.
But
Oh.
then I found out that they can't ask for information they don't already hold. So they can't validate a photograph if they haven't already got a photograph, so they shouldn't ask for a photograph.
And that's all private, confidential information.
Yeah.
You're asking them, no, you are holding evidence. There is a criminal investigation going on. You supply it or you will be held accountable. Simple as that.
If they don't think you're the person at the address station, they
Yeah.
can't even right to ask for an ID.
Yeah, I've got that with my electricity company. Oh, we need you to identify yourself. Really? You've been sending me emails for the last 4 years and you don't know who I am, despite the fact I've told you over and over and over again. You want to know where I live? I've told you I live in my body. You want to know where I am? I'm next to a palm tree in Queensland at the moment. Why? You're coming to plan and visit me. I have lots of fun with the last one. I said, I've got a new person on the case, about the 6th one. And I said, oh, Sebastian, fantastic. You call yourself an energy specialist. Does that mean you've got some specific scientific qualification? Or perhaps you're a new age guru? Or perhaps you're just someone who has an acquired brain injury? I don't know. Got to have fun with them. Got to have fun. All right, so let me tell you what's happening. This is where it gets interesting, and there is a lot that I can tell you, but there's a lot I can't tell you yet. Many years ago, a gentleman who was bankrupted by the system got rather pissed off and decided he was going to expose the system. Over the next 20 years, he acquired and produced over 17,000 documents and cases that were filed in international courts, and he has been appointed as the liquidator of the Crown. The Crown is trading whilst insolvent. The Crown that most people think the Crown is actually a trading company that has gone around the world from the time of Drake and all of this 1500s, stealing property from other nations. United States, India, they literally walked in as a trading company, military force, and took over the land unlawfully and traded under the supposed Commonwealth, which was not the real Crown. This man exposed all of that and has got documents proving that all of these companies are trading while insolvent and had no authorization. So he now controls the courts, prisons, the police, all of these entities. Having seized control of all of the corporate stuff connected with the Commonwealth and the Crown, he realised that to go any further, he needed to create a treaty with living men and women. So he sought out the oldest bloodline on the planet, recognised bloodline, which is in Australia, which goes back 70,000 years, and he traced that through to its current descendant, which is a man by the name of Ulukkai. And for the last 5 years, he's been working very closely with Ulukkai to set up a system where all the people on the planet can be set free from the corporations. The money that's in these bank accounts, because he's frozen, they've got access to all the treasury accounts everywhere, all your trust accounts, all there. There's a woman by the name of Anna von Rijks who claims that she has purchased all of the trust accounts for all the people on the planet. That is not true. She's milking people dry, saying that you can do this and that, but you've got to pay money for all these forms. When Ulikai first went to the Australian Treasury and he walked in and they had to give him access to all the accounts, and I can't remember whose account it was he opened. It was a single digit number followed by 12 zeros. Just that get around. This is just one account. He opened another account, single digit number followed by 43 zeros. Then he got into some other accounts. There were too many zeros to be on the page, so the account balance was listed as less than infinity. The amount of money that belongs to the people that has been stripped away by these false entities is mind-numbing. These two guys have treated for the benefit of all people on the planet so that all of that money gets returned to the people. They're not interested in the fame and fortune. They want the people to be free. They are in the process now of establishing, or they've actually established, the International Crown Common Law Courts for every crown land on the planet. Only courts of equity and common law will be allowed to run. In other words, the bar system is dead. All bank mortgages will be wiped. All taxation will be wiped. And you will have access to your funds, because they were set up for you. These 3 trust accounts that we talked about, probably worth anything from $2 to $5 billion will be at your disposal.
So is this necessary Kessler that they've been going
This is no, this is above that. This is above that. Gemma. Yeah, he's the acknowledged by the courts in Australia rightful king of Terra Australis. Now, Australia is not the landmass that you think it is. It's actually 3 little islands. Even Australians don't know this. Most of them think the country's called Australia. It's not. Because when Cook landed here, they couldn't take ownership of the land because it was occupied. So they stopped at Norfolk Island and they claimed Norfolk Island. So Australia is actually this piddly little land off the coast, and then Christmas Island, where they keep all the detainees, and then another island called Cocos Keeling Islands. So Ulikai is the acknowledged descendant. The only treaty that was ever established in Australia was the John Batman Treaty in 1835, where John Batman did a treaty with Ulikai's ancestors for 100,000 acres to run sheep and grow wheat and do whatever. The Crown came in and shut it down. But the Crown was the criminal trading group that had been set up. So Ulikai has the bloodline. He has the acknowledged stuff through their court system that that's who he is. And he's done this treaty. Now, every single country in the world has been served a copy of the treaty document. So they've all been told this is going to happen. He's in the process of, so I've got to be careful what I say here. He will be doing an electronic broadcast system, emergency broadcast system announcement to the world, basically saying this is what's happened. But not to panic, because if you have a mortgage, it's been wiped. All the property will be accorded to you. All taxations will cease immediately. So that means that food, petrol, all of these things, the prices are going to drop dramatically. I thought it was due to happen when I left.
People that have got ripped off by the system already, will they get reimbursed, or is that so that or they not need it because of the money?
Well, you won't need it to begin with, but you might want reparation. So you're going to have to make application through the court system, through the new court system. You're going to have your paperwork. That's why all of us who've been doing this, we're at the front of the queue, because all of our paperwork is ready to go.
Yep.
And the courts that are going to be hearing this matter are the courts that we've helped to establish. So all of our cases will be heard first. They'll be given a chance to turn up and challenge it if they want. But we've run several cases now and they haven't even dared to submit a document because they know what's going to happen. So we say to people, just be patient, do your paperwork, hold them accountable, because life's going to change. I expected it was going to happen back in, when did I come here? July 19? I thought it was going to happen that week, because that's when I spoke to Ulukai last. I'd met him on the Sunday. We had a big talk. He was very excited about everything. And I said, well, can you do me a short video that I can play to people while I'm coming round? He said, yep, we'll do that. And then it got to the end of the week and I said, where's the bloody video? He said, some stuff's come up. I said, okay. And now the glue members in Terra Australis, who are very, very closely working with them to produce the paperwork, have said, look, we are so close. We just need to get these last bits and pieces in place. They're the final nails in the coffin, and then we're set to go. But here's where I go with this. The most important thing for all of us is to change our perspective, change our mindset, because we are consciousnesses above and beyond this bullshit. This bullshit, I think, is here to shift you into a different way of thinking, into seeing yourself not as a human puppet, but actually a high consciousness being that's part of a much bigger event, which I'll talk about in the second talk when we get to the galactic stuff. Okay, so any questions? What's that now? About 1:30? 1:20? Yeah, Bev, hang on. No, this has been happening below the surface, well, for the last 6 or 7 years at least, probably longer. If you go back into the documents, because there's 17,000 documents supporting this, all of this. So this has been happening almost ignorant of all the Jasara stuff. So the Nasara Jasara sits about here. This is up here. So wow.
Do you think that people pick up on consciousness and then we bring it in their own belief system and create something like this, and actually what they are doing is picking up on the intention of what we're doing is going to uncover.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is that people are tapping into some aspect of higher consciousness and they're thinking, oh, we're going to make this happen. And so we've had a series of steps towards the consciousness. And because everything in the universe is consciousness, when people change the way they look at things, things look different. So it's a really exciting time. Can I give you any promises as to when? It's like a piece of elastic. You can pull it apart and do this. All the pieces stay in the same order, but the illusion of time, it's like, where are we in that? And the message is, this is the last few bits that need to be put in place. Absolutely, there will. Yeah. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because people, that's their choice. It will be like when the majority of the world finds out that COVID was a hoax and that they've been injected with all this shit. You think about, just say for instance, Australia. It's 26 million people. If 10% of them get so pissed off that they want blood, that's 2.6 million angry people in the streets. There'll have to be. There'll have to be martial law. But here's the question that you have to ask yourself. Is it going to be their military law or is it going to be ours? And that's the big issue that is being resolved at the moment, is the enforcement. So we've got the international crown marshals have already been established on paper. Now they're just getting the teams set up because they actually only need about a dozen for every country. And they will systematically go around and arrest the bank managers, all of these people, and those people will be put into prison. And the prison wardens will be told, you either put them in or you'll be standing next to them. You have a choice. Now, no prison warden wants to be in mainstream. There's going to be a lot of people going to jump to this side of the fence very, very quickly. And Ulukai's perspective is everyone has a right to redemption. Redemption is different to accountability. If you redeem yourself, then you've come to the right side, but you still must be held accountable in some way for what you've done. Yeah? He's an incredibly just man, but I would never want to cross him. Because he'll say, of course, if I don't do that, I'll just spear him. And he means it. He seriously means it. He will. So, but, from Canada. At this point, I don't think he's connected to the People's Court of Albion. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Look, Kevin's one of the, I suppose, him and Bill Turner and a couple of others from New Zealand. They're sort of the pioneers going back 10, 20, 30 years ago into exposing what was going on and how to deal with it. I think they've both done incredible jobs waking the people up. I'm not convinced that they always think outside the box, though, because a lot of the stuff that we've implemented is outside of the box thinking, that the messages have come back. Like I spoke with Bill Turner 5-6 years ago, and even then he was saying, what you're doing is amazing. So he was already seeing where, and I said, Bill, I couldn't have done it without your platform to begin with. So it's a lineage of people. Kevin's fantastic, but he's focused more on Canada. And one of the problems is that in Canada, it's lawful to set up assemblies. In Australia, an assembly is a terrorist organisation. So we had a guy in Australia who was setting up assemblies. And I said, Mike, why are you putting people in the crosshairs? Oh, we can do whatever we want. I said, that's irresponsible because you're setting people up to be arrested for no reason and held indefinitely. And he got very arrogant and said, well, we can do it. And lo and behold, people from assemblies got arrested and they had to fight to get out of jail. I think I take it very seriously that there's a lot of responsibility goes on my head for what I say. Because whether I like it or not, people believe what I say. And I say, no, don't do that. Do your own research. I'm just telling you what I'm aware of. But I'm very conscious about that I don't say things that potentially could put somebody in harm's way, which is why there's certain things I can't tell you about what's happening with the Ulukai stuff, other than to say you have no need for hope anymore, because solution is around the corner and it is coming. I've got this feeling that I've put the message out to Ulukai to say I think you need to do this launch in the UK, and he agrees. It's a question of when, and he might come here and he might do some public talks for it all. We're that close to it's happening. And I understand people have doubt because there have been so many promises in the past that have not come to fruition. But every time we've been getting closer and closer. And their system is petrified. They realise it's not a matter of if, it's when. And they're trying to cover their asses. They're all resigning from banks. All these top people are just resigning because they know we're getting close. But then there's also, you've got the situation with Nibiru and the pole shifts and all of that coming up as well. Let's do that. Let's have some lunch. Well, because this is the cesspool from whence all of the crown shit started. Yeah. So cut the head of the snake off. I think it's more powerful that way. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yep.
So all that money's just sitting there, doing what? Earning interest for the bankers?
Well, no, it's earning interest for the account. But what's happened is that the bankers have frozen the accounts. So the managers have come in because they can't get access to them. The only thing they could do was freeze all the accounts. So that's why they're going to go in and arrest all of the managers, all the bank managers and top people.
So that was the guy who is the liquidator.
Yep.
Froze the account. But before that, that's how bankers have made themselves so much money and so rich across the world.
Yeah, exploiting the people. Yeah.
But we don't know that.
They've been using the trust accounts for their own purposes. That's why I said they can step in because there's no one in the office of the executor. They authorise themselves to step in and play Russian roulette with your trust accounts. Yeah, all that stuff. All that. Yeah. Yeah.
What I understand is when you're born and you create this trust account, unbeknown to your parents or yourself, where does that initial trust money come from? So it's like, isn't it like an amount of money that's traded based upon the amount of taxation that you are likely to
They set a price based on the weight and gold. So I can set a price for this. This is now worth $1,000. If anyone will buy it, that's what it's worth. That's what they do with the trust account. They back it with gold to create the bonds, and then they sell the bonds. It's all artificial. No, they're not creating it out of nothing. They're creating it out of the placenta. Yeah, they're not actually selling the placenta. They're selling the bonds created from.
Isn't it a case where they've taken the land, so all the mines are actually owned by them, and that's our mineral rights, our wealth in the world, which then they translate to gold?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
They don't own the resources. They're claiming ownership. There's a big difference between the two. Let's have some lunch and come back.